The Nigerian military is recognized as a continental force in Africa and rated highly in the world for professionalism and excellence.
The motto of the Air Force, willing, able, and ready, aptly captures the essence of what the Nigerian Air Force has, right from the onset, been planned to be. We are willing because we have been given that constitutional mandate to defend the Nigerian airspace. We are able because we have the capabilities, and we are ready because we know that we can protect Nigeria.
Security may be a challenge in Nigeria today, as in many other countries of the world, but the Nigerian Air Force and its sister services are living up to the task.
Nigerians should just please learn to love their Air Force and their other security agencies. Give them support, because that is what we see happening in other countries. Countries that have not had the kind of experience our Air Force and the other services have had. All we need to do is be behind the services, give us the support that we require, give us the information that you think will help us solve some of these problems that we are facing. And I think it's just a matter of time before we begin to see these changes that we all yearn for.
The situation was much worse before the arrival of the Muhammadu Buhari administration in 2015. Then, Boko Haram was already spreading its tentacles from its northeast stronghold to Abuja, where it attacked institutions in the nation's capital and its environs.
When it came in, the security situation was very, very deplorable. And it began to tackle it. And we saw results. But then suddenly there has been a resurgence. And that is why we have what we have now. The security situation now is bad. We all know that. It's quite bad. But then, if he did it before, he can always do it again. I believe that the situation, security-wise, will be turned around again. And President Buhari would keep to his promise of securing the country. One thing he normally says is that before you can efficiently manage a country or an institution, you must first secure it.
When you're in a political setting as ours, all the solutions don't come from one source. You have to apply a little of kinetic, a little of non-kinetic. And where do we come into the whole game? The kinetic aspect. So we are playing our part. And I believe that with the efforts being put by the federal government and other concerned parties, I think we should be able to begin to see the end of some of these problems we have.
We are reasonably well equipped to do what we are assigned to do.
Nigerians should just learn to love their Air Force and their other security agencies.
Apart from embarking on independent operations targeted at the terrorists' capabilities, the Nigerian Air Force has sustained the fight against insurgency through its participation in several missions aimed at projecting air power to provide coverage for the ground forces and support for Operation Hardin Kai.
As a service, we also sit and review what we are doing with a view to re-strategizing in order to be much more effective in delivering on our mandate. So we sit down, we review what is going on, we see the emerging threats, and we ask ourselves, how best can we employ air power in the light of what is going on? And so, working closely with our sister services, we review our strategies to ensure that air power is employed much more effectively and efficiently to contain whatever situations that are arising at any given time.
Despite the resurgence of terrorism and other forms of security challenges in different parts of the country, the Nigerian Air Force is determined to sustain the gains already recorded through its collaboration with sister services and other security agencies.
The peculiarity of air power is such that you have the capacity to conduct independent operations. By independent operations, I mean those operations that you don't necessarily have to coordinate with the surface forces. For example, if you have an intelligence of a logistics base or a mass-up of troops or enemies that are far away from your own troops, you can carry out an interdiction operation to diminish their capacity before they are brought to bear on your own troops. So sometimes when the need arises, we carry out such operations.
The new Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Oladeye Amao, assumed office at a critical time in history. Under his sure and confident command, the Nigerian Air Force appears set for greater heights as a force that is truly willing, able and ready to serve the nation.
He came to the job with a wealth of experience, both as an operational commander in the field and as an instructor pilot. You recall he was the air component commander in the Northeast at a time. He was also the chief of training and operations. In fact, I took over from him as the chief of training and operations. He was the chief of policy and plans. He was an instructor pilot. He commanded the air combat training group. So he came with a lot of experience, which is shaping his vision for the NAV. Okay, so he has come in with purpose, and that purpose is to galvanize the service to improve and sustain air power capabilities, particularly in a joint environment.
A disciplined and professional soldier, Air Marshal Amao comes to the office with a positive mindset and determination to reposition the Nigerian Air Force through a passionate vision formulated to enhance and sustain critical air power capabilities required for joint force employment in pursuit of national security imperatives.
This was to be achieved through key drivers of focus on doctrinal development and application of air power in joint military operations, pursuit of purposeful training and human capacity development, as well as sustenance of platforms and equipment serviceability through innovative maintenance method and logistics support system.
When the service was established just a few months or years after, it was thrust into the Civil War with very few platforms, maybe not very experienced people, being a very new service. But now we have developed to the point where we are so equipped that we don't only project air power within the country, but we are able to project air power outside of the country.
Established in 1964, the Nigerian Air Force is unarguably the youngest arm of the Nigerian military. With a huge and well-trained personnel and an array of sophisticated equipment for the defense of Nigeria's airspace and territorial integrity, it is certainly among the largest and finest in Africa.
Obviously, for us to be where we are, it means we have the requisite equipment to perform the air power roles that are required of us as a tactical air force. And so, I think we are reasonably well equipped to do what we are assigned to do. And again, that is proven from all the operations we have carried out both within and outside the country, where the service has acquitted itself creditably well.
No doubt, the federal government has given a tremendous boost to NAV's aircraft holdings across fleets. Commendable as this gesture is, there are still constraints in the way of the force.
As good as they are, we will still need much more platforms. So, insufficiency of platforms is one of the challenges, because the operational area is becoming larger by the day. The demands on the Air Force is increasing by the day. And for us to be able to meet with all the demands both within and outside of the country, we will need additional platforms. Another challenge is being a third world country, we depend a lot on the outside vendors to get spare parts for our airplanes. Sometimes, because of the processes involved, it takes a while for these spare parts to come in. And of course, within that period, the airplane will be on the ground.
In terms of equipment, President Buhari has possibly done more than any president in recent times. He has equipped the military. And even as we speak, many more equipment are still coming.
With the recent induction of 3 JF-17 Thunder multi-role fighter aircraft into the NAF inventory and the expectation of more platforms in the months ahead, the Nigerian Air Force is surely positioned for great exploits in defense of the nation.
The 3 JF-17 Thunder fighter and ground attack aircraft being added to the inventory of the Nigerian Air Force today will no doubt boost the operational capacity of the service and add significant impetus to the fight against terrorism, insurgency, banditry, and other forms of criminality in the country.
The induction of the 3 JF-17 Thunder aircraft today brings the total number of new aircraft inducted in the last 6 years to 26. These aircraft have significantly boosted our operational effectiveness in the fight to defeat all threats to the nation and its citizenry.
Under the new dispensation, equipment in NAF medical centers have been upgraded and air medical service boosted for the support of the critically ill or the wounded in combat. Aside the acquisition of crucial and sensitive platforms, training of personnel and maintenance of equipment are key in ensuring the functionality of the facility and safety of the air staff.
We have a very robust structure in place to ensure that we operate as safely as we can humanly operate. Yes, it is not the wish of anyone that we have accidents or we have incidences, but you cannot overrule the fact that occasionally these things can happen. But we have structures in place. For example, in the headquarters here, we have a whole directorate that is dedicated to safety issues. You have a director of safety whose primary responsibility is to ensure that everything to do with operations of aircraft in the Nigerian Air Force is done safely. We have a director of evaluation who goes around to ensure that standards for ensuring safety are maintained across all the flying units. In addition, we have what we call safety review meetings or boards that meet on a regular basis from the headquarters here down to the command level to the operational unit. And their responsibility is to continually assess our safety procedures to ensure that all airplanes, all machinery, all equipment are operated with the highest standards of safety.